Little-known method to earn in 30 days what usually takes a whole year, Bob Proctor. Do you know what's really stopping you from earning in 1 month what most people take a year to make? It's not the government, not the economy, and not your boss. It's how you see yourself. Sounds absurd, doesn't it? How could your self-image affect your income? But that's exactly where the secret lies. That's why so many people work hard, study, push themselves, and still end up in the same place by the end of the month. Familiar? I'm going to share a method I've used myself and seen transform lives, helping people break out of that cycle. I used to think $1 million was something unreal, distant, unattainable. But one day I realized, it's not about the number, it's about perception. $1 million is just a figure, and everything depends on how you relate to it. Most people, maybe even you, grew up hearing things like, money doesn't grow on trees. Only the rich get richer. If it were easy, everyone would do it. And these ideas, quietly and consistently, shape a poverty mindset within us. We subconsciously assign ourselves the role of someone who will never succeed, who must settle for less. And no matter how hard you work, how many extra hours you put in, how many courses you take, you always return to the same starting point. Sound familiar? You work all month, get paid, pay the bills, and the money disappears. How do you see yourself? As someone who receives, or someone who struggles to earn? Thriving or surviving? It all starts there. Money is drawn to clarity, and clarity is defined by how you feel and how you see yourself. Repeating affirmations is pointless if deep down you believe, this isn't for me. I've been there myself. I grew up in scarcity, and carried those same beliefs into adulthood. Until one day someone told me, Bob, you don't need more effort, you need a new self-image. I didn't fully understand it then, but I decided to give it a try. And everything began to shift. I discovered that the subconscious doesn't reject anything. It accepts whatever you repeatedly present to it with emotion. That's the key. If you want to earn in a month what usually takes a year, start today, right now, by seeing and feeling yourself as someone who already lives that life. What you feel is what you attract. And what you consistently visualize, the universe brings into reality with precision. You might be thinking, how can I see myself as thriving when my bills are overdue and my fridge is nearly empty? That's the most common objection, and the biggest block. You're tying your inner image to what you see on the outside. But it's the other way around. What you see externally is the result of the inner image you've been holding on to. Change begins quietly, within you. You need to train yourself daily to think, speak, feel, and act as if you're already operating at that new level. Picture yourself closing that deal. Picture getting a call with news of a promotion. Feel the calm of paying your bills ahead of time. Imagine the joy of buying something without worrying about running out of money. See your family celebrating with you. Live it inside as if it's happening now. I remember a time when I was completely broke. Literally, in debt, aimless, living on borrowed time. But even then, every day, I'd close my eyes and see myself on stage. With a microphone, speaking to hundreds, sharing everything I knew about success. Back then, it felt insane. But inside, it was real. I started acting as if it was destined to happen. I read books, studied obsessively, practiced constantly. And one day, I was invited to speak to a small group. Then another. And eventually, I stood before thousands. It all began with the image I chose to hold. Even when the world around me said it was impossible. That's why I emphasize this so strongly. The image you hold with belief and emotion shapes what you attract. If you dwell on lack, feel fear, and act with hesitation, you'll draw more of the same. But if you think big, feel grateful as if you've already received it, and act with confidence, the universe responds. Always. You don't need more luck. You don't need an external push. You need a final inner decision. So here's what I suggest. For the next 30 days, every morning before doing anything, close your eyes and repeat this phrase with emotion: I am so happy and grateful now that money flows to me in increasing amounts, from multiple sources, continuously. But don't just say it. Feel it. See it. Believe it. Feel the money coming. Visualize the results. Imagine the transformation taking place. Science has shown that the brain doesn't distinguish between reality and imagination when emotions are involved. Use that to your advantage. Train your mind to accept, believe, and allow. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter what the bills, bank balance, or statistics say. You can change all of it. But change begins with what you see when you close your eyes. And when that shifts, you'll find that 1 month is more than enough to live what used to take a whole year. When someone tries to change their life through willpower alone, without shifting their self-image, they might see temporary progress, but they'll inevitably snap back to where they started. It's like a rubber band. You stretch it, it expands. You even move forward. But if you don't cut what's holding you back, it'll snap you right back. That happens because there's something stronger than any goal or fleeting desire. It's the self-image imprinted in your subconscious. You may not be aware of it, but everything you do, from how you dress to what you believe you can achieve, is shaped by how you see yourself inside. And most people carry a poor, limited, distorted self-image from childhood. Think about how often you've seen someone start a diet, full of enthusiasm, determined, loses 5 or 10 kilos, and then gains it all back, sometimes even more. Why does that happen? Simple. Because the mind still sees itself as overweight. It still carries the identity of the old self. And that identity, that inner, won't allow the new body to remain. The mind screams, "This isn't who I am." Without realizing it, the person starts eating again, sabotages their progress, abandons healthy habits, all to stay aligned with their self-image. The same thing happens with money. How many times has someone received an unexpected sum, an inheritance, a bonus, a prize, and soon ended up in a worse financial state than before? The problem was never the money. The mind didn't believe it deserved it. Like an internal thermostat that regulates temperature to a preset level, the self-image acts as a ceiling. It adjusts everything back to the old pattern. Want a more specific example? Think of a student struggling in school. Grades are poor, parents pressure him, he tries harder and improves for a while, but then it all slips back. Why? Because no one changed how he sees himself. He still believes he's a weak student, someone who doesn't understand, who can't succeed. And his body, behavior, and results all respond to what he believes. When I understood this, a whole new universe opened up. I realized that self-image isn't an opinion, it's a program, a set of beliefs deeply embedded in the subconscious. And like any program, it can be rewritten. Now pause and reflect. Are you battling habits, procrastination, scarcity, lack of focus? Do you blame yourself for not keeping up? Think you lack discipline? What if I told you the issue isn't your actions, but the identity behind them? The self-image you carry shapes your routine. It determines who you associate with, how much you charge for your work, what opportunities you notice or ignore. You know what's most unsettling? That image was formed long ago, when you were still a child. It was shaped by criticism you heard, comparisons, the limitations of adults around you, people who didn't realize the harm they were doing, but who left deep marks on how you see yourself today. And no one ever taught you that you could change it. Schools teach math, geography, history, but they don't teach how to build a healthy self-image. They don't teach that you can be the architect of your own mind. That's what I learned, late, but I learned it. Until age 26, I was a walking failure, broken, insecure, without confidence. But slowly, I began to study, dig deeper, and I understood, what kept me trapped wasn't the world or lack of opportunity, it was the image I kept alive within myself. And that's where everything began to shift. I stopped fighting the symptoms and started addressing the root. It's not about repeating empty affirmations. It's about building a new image day by day, seeing yourself as capable, envisioning success, feeling worthy, confident, deserving. That process is what creates real transformation. And it's not magic. It's not mysticism. Science understands this. According to neuroplasticity research from Harvard University, the brain is malleable, it forms new synaptic connections based on what you repeat with emotional consistency. In other words, by maintaining a new self-image with genuine emotional involvement, you literally begin to reshape the physical structure of your brain. You start becoming what you believe. That's why, even without fully grasping the process, I kept going. I wrote, repeated, visualized. Every day, I imagined the version of myself I wanted to bring to life. And by doing that, I began to act like that version. I started making different choices. I began connecting with different people. I started accepting opportunities one used to block myself from. And the result? The world began to respond. Doors opened. Money started flowing. People saw me differently, but the truth is, I saw myself differently. Today, looking back, I understand. I didn't need to change who I was. I just needed to let go of who I believed I was. So now I ask you, sincerely, who do you believe you are? What do you believe you deserve? How long will you keep trying to change your life without changing the image you carry inside? You want a new result? Then you need to create a new identity. Not tomorrow. You'll never have time. The time is now. And if you do this with intensity, with honesty, for 30 consecutive days, you'll begin to see results that will shock you, because the outer world is simply a reflection of what you believe inside. The most powerful part of your mind isn't the one that thinks, it's the one that feels. That's why most people spend their lives trying to solve problems with logic and conscious effort, yet remain stuck. Because they don't realize that true control lies at the emotional level, not the rational one. The subconscious doesn't judge. It doesn't know what's real and what's imagined. Whatever you feel with intensity, it accepts as truth. And more than that, it turns it into behavior, into vibration, into outcome. So when you imagine something vividly and emotionally, even if it doesn't yet exist in the physical world, your body, your energy, and the universe around you begin to respond as if it's real. That's why, when you feel fear thinking about a future problem, your body reacts with tension, a racing heart, as if you're actually experiencing it. And if that works for fear, it also works for prosperity, for success, for abundance. But here's the critical point, most people feed only negative images. They wake up already worrying about what might go wrong, about bills, about the possibility of failure. And without realizing it, they're constantly giving commands to the subconscious. I'm poor. I'm in danger. I don't have enough. And the subconscious obediently responds, shaping behavior, decisions, and opportunities accordingly. They arise to confirm that inner image. Have you ever noticed how some people always seem to be in the right place at the right time, easily closing deals, attracting great relationships, as if luck is always on their side? And others, no matter how hard they try, keep repeating patterns of loss, delay, and self-sabotage. It's not coincidence, it's clarity. Everything in the universe operates through vibration. Science has shown that we are walking electromagnetic fields. Thought generates frequency, but it's feeling that gives that frequency its power. Feeling is thought in motion. That's why imagination is the most powerful tool you possess. With it, you can build reality before it appears. You can visit the future, experience success, feel the thrill of achievement before it manifests. And by doing this consistently, you instruct the subconscious to accept this new reality as natural. But be careful, it's not enough to visualize coldly. You must engage, feel. Emotion is the signal, the stamp that tells the subconscious, this is real for me. If you repeat a mental image tied to genuine emotion for 30 days, you'll shift the frequency of your being. You'll move to a different vibrational level. And when that happens, people, situations, and opportunities that match that level will begin to connect with you. It can't be otherwise. I've lived it many times. At one point in my life, I began to imagine every day that my business was expanding globally. I'd close my eyes and see people listening to me in different countries, translating my teachings, applying the ideas I shared. At the time, it was just a fantasy. But I felt it with such truth that my energy changed. Soon, invitations started coming in, spontaneous translations of my videos, offers from places I never imagined would hear my voice. That's when I understood, in a visceral way, that you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you're still unsure, think about how many brilliant ideas you've had but never acted on. How many times you knew what you needed to do, but didn't. It's not a lack of knowledge. It's a conflict of identity. The old you tries to preserve what it knows, while the new you is trying to emerge. Transformation only happens when you firmly hold the image of the new self and feel as if it's already true. You don't need to know every step. The path doesn't reveal itself all at once. But when you shift your frequency, the next step appears. And it always does. If you're living in scarcity today, it's because a matching vibration is being emitted. And that vibration comes from the image you maintain, from the emotions you feed. But it's not permanent. This can be changed, replaced, reprogrammed. Not through magic, but through decision and repetition. So start now. Close your eyes and see yourself as your best version. Picture a positive balance in your bank account, a peaceful family, a schedule full of opportunities, your light and vibrant energy. Feel joy, gratitude, and security. Repeat this process daily, with belief, even if it feels strange at first. For 30 days, keep that image alive within you. Support it with words, consistent actions, and full attention. Because the moment your vibration shifts, everything shifts. People perceive you differently. You walk differently, speak differently, make decisions differently. And the world responds. The world always responds to what you radiate. And the frequency you emit is shaped by the image you maintain. Change the image. Change the frequency. And the entire universe reorganizes to support you. The truth is, change doesn't happen slowly. It happens the moment you decide with conviction to become someone new. What feels slow and draining is resistance. And that resistance comes from the old program inside you that wants to keep you exactly where you are, even if that place is painful, limiting, disappointing. You see, humans are driven by consistency. When the mind encounters a new image that contradicts its current identity, it reacts with discomfort. It's as if it screams, "This isn't me." And that's when doubt, fear, and sabotage show up. Not because you're incapable, but because the old self feels threatened. You've probably felt this before. You start a new project, full of excitement, see early progress, but then something inside starts whispering thoughts like, "Am I good enough? This won't last. I always find a way to mess things up." And before you know it, you retreat, delay, abandon what you started. That's something inside you, a familiar program. Trying to pull you back to what's known, what's comfortable, even if that comfort is miserable. I remember a woman who attended one of my events. She had worked hard to build a small pastry business and was finally about to sign a contract with a cafe chain. It was her chance to expand. But on the day of the big meeting, she didn't show up. She simply didn't go. When asked why, she said, "I thought they'd realize I'm not good enough." That's the kind of quiet tragedy that happens to thousands of people every day. Brilliant individuals, full of potential, who sabotage their own chances because the image they carry of themselves won't let them move forward. They don't feel worthy. And that feeling of unworthiness is one of the most toxic mental poisons that exist. It's invisible, but it paralyzes. It disguises itself as humility, caution, or prudence. But deep down, it's fear in disguise. Now think. How many opportunities have you rejected, avoided, or simply failed to notice because deep down you believed, "That's not for me"? How many times have you sabotaged yourself, thinking it would be too much, to earn that much, to have that much, to live that fully? Mike Tyson is a painful example of this. He was trained by a brilliant mentor, Cus D'Amato, who not only refined his boxing talent but also tried to reshape his identity. For a while, Mike believed he was unstoppable, focused, disciplined. He shined. But when Cus passed away, the old Tyson resurfaced, uncertain, impulsive, out of control. The image still living inside him, shaped by a childhood of violence and neglect, took over. He couldn't sustain the new self. And both his career and his life unraveled. This shows that without reconstructing your self-image, any change will be temporary. You can learn techniques, earn money, land a position, but if deep down you still see yourself as limited, disorganized, undeserving, you'll find a way to tear it all down. Because the mind demands consistency. But here's the turning point. You are not your story. You are not what others said about you. You are not the mistakes you've made. You are who you choose to be, from this moment forward. You can create, sustain, and strengthen a new image. But you must understand, the old self will fight back. It will resist. It will make noise. It will say you're getting arrogant. It will say you're moving too fast. It will say it's better not to get your hopes up. And you must be ready to ignore that voice. Not fight it, but drown it out through action. Because every small victory you achieve strengthens the new self. Every bold decision you make, even with fear, weakens the old program. Don't wait to feel ready. Readiness doesn't come first. It's the result of a decision. You decide, you act, and the feeling of worthiness follows. And if you want a starting point, do this: write in detail how your ideal version lives. Where they live, how much they earn, how they wake up, who they connect with, how they dress, how they speak. And every morning, read that text aloud. Don't just read, feel it. Feel it as if it's already real. Because to the subconscious, if you feel it, it is. And when you repeat it with strength and consistency, you'll begin to notice subtle shifts. Decisions will become clearer. Opportunities will appear. The right people will show up. Because the universe responds to the clarity you maintain. And the most beautiful part is, when this transformation truly begins, you'll look back and ask yourself, why did I wait so long to allow myself to be who I really am? Real change is immediate. It's instant. Resistance makes you believe otherwise. But now you know the truth. It all begins with how you see yourself. That's the foundation of everything. What you think, feel, attract, and manifest is directly tied to the image you hold of yourself. Change that image, and you change your life. Now that you understand this, you're ready to take the next step. The video appearing on your screen will help you rise one level higher in your evolution of wisdom and become 1% better than you are today. Thank you for being here with me. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, everything begins with you, and you are in control of your reality.